Okay. It is 20240426. 054356. Arizona time. So, okay, man. We're going to talk about, well, okay. If I'm on the Satanic Council, I hold positions 7, 13, and 14. And this is for purposes of audit. Okay. Authorized out the wazoo. And so, I'm concluding audit as of yesterday. And we've been working through the night on that. But anyway. So, I have my little doom screen on here. You are entering the refinery. That's where I paused it yesterday. So, this little clip, yeah, I'm gonna upload as a clip, and you know, move on to something else. I'm gonna chop it up that way. So, version 2024-04-25, Satanic Council Dissolution, of course including definitions from Phase 3 Toolkit. Upon audit, it has been determined the Satanic Council and the corresponding Synagogue of Satan have no constitution or consistency in philorulement, and therefore are materially insolvent. Since the foundation of the apparent capital of the United States and the various other governments have been designed with dependency on the Satanic Order of the Sons of Perdition, these are likewise designated as insolvent. The Sons of Perdition are the capstone or keystone organization legitimizing secret criminal organizations the world over and their overt control of every government, financial institution, and military. The citizenry, each unto its own territorial control set, have been extensively abused to an extreme that is incomprehensible to the level that having a functional family unit seems impossible anywhere. Furthermore, programs to deny any positive consequence of good decisions have been installed in every subordinate organization, including all corporations, to stifle individual growth. The situation was accelerated even after Treaty to respect individual mandate was unanimously agreed to in national through principality level continuity of government parley. Violation of treaty, especially military engagement during parley, is not something any individual nation or principality can aggressively conduct without facing the wrath of extra universal interests, including the Godhead. All nations on earth, 3, conducted hostile and aggressive operations against the citizenry at a much accelerated and violent measure, especially in anticipation of, during, and after this accord was achieved. Having been found to be in a status of active, hostile, and aggressive military coordinated action against the citizenry, every government at every level on Earth 3 is hereby totally dissolved. Transitional efforts will hereby be managed by a continuity of government principality designates appointed by the calm principality. Military order is hereby in effect immediately. Any action to dislodge this condition will receive a military response. As Chief Advocate eternally before consideration of Jesus Christ, my commander, I retain this advocacy for every individual, and that does include Satan, all existing interfaces with Sons of Perdition, Synagogue of Satan, and the Satanic Council, the Gadiaton robbers, and all derivatives of any kind, all secret combinations of any kind, are realigned with himhem.io pending transitional considerations respecting individual integrity and family integrity. Apparent governmental operation will continue for a time, but only to serve transitional efforts into stronger constitution of nation and principality. This transition will take place as appropriate to each respective territorial control set. For example, U.S. Constitution, Article 5. If there is not sufficient leverage in a territorial control set in the currently articulated standard, there will be a slight alleviation to it to allow positive momentum to flow. If there is no standard for improvement, it will be done by popular convention and referendum, which is amended to the U.S. Constitution Article 5 process also. A two-thirds majority will be recognized as the standard for allowing constitutional establishment or amendment in the case of civil referendum. Civil referendum, or any other measure in any regard, may not eliminate the role of principality because it has no authority to do so. In other words, if you articulate a governmental standard using this method, civil referendum, you may not relieve yourself of obligations under principality. In other words, principality also has to endorse it, or it's a no-go. Because you've been stupid as fuck. That's why. Efforts to weaponize government or military to affect personal or organizational objectives to inflict hardship or damage on any other, whether an individual or organization, will receive immediate military designation and action will be swiftly taken. It is not appropriate to leverage systematic weapons in any measure unless it is done in honorable and valid conduct of military operations. And apparently you don't know what that means. This does, in effect, neutralize governmental, corporate, and financial and cross-citizenry abuses that have been inflicted to an extreme not seen in ages. This especially recognizes the role the judiciary and the several governments engaged in to undermine government these branches swore to support. For this reason, the judiciary may not take any action not approved by calm.main.did and may not actually make any effective ruling at this time. The judiciary may not render any opinion that is not approved either, considering this was weaponized, leading to the deaths of countless individuals. A prime example of this was the secret Supreme Court review and approval of Alberto Gonzalez's enhanced interrogation techniques, which is a materially state-generated terrorist campaign against individuals everywhere, and has been used as justification for furtherance of Nazi science, torture, murder, dissection, and other experimentation done to the population at large. Yours truly. I do understand the effect that those measures have had because I've been subject to them. And a lot of other people have too. Institutionally, the judiciary is morally, honorably, and otherwise bankrupt. The condition of judicial authority is suspended in every regard, except in specifically approved felonious conduct matters, which may not include any active military conduct, including operations conducted by militias. This includes judicial authority currently articulated in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, known as the UCMJ. Due to many abuses, this standard is inflicted on the enlisted service members. Each military with a similar structure is likewise considered the judiciary. In other words, if your guys need discipline, the command will take care of that. It's unstructured, but it's also a lot better for the time being, because everything's a clusterfuck and you fucked it up on purpose. So if you're looking for someone to blame, go look in the fucking mirror. The Geneva Convention is dissolved because no signatory governments respected it at any time. Switzerland is viewed as globally hostile in every regard. The European Union is dissolved for continuation of Third Reich objectives and operations globally. The military designate for the European Union is established under the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, which is likewise dissolved. All NATO assets are hereby transferred with command authority to the territorial control set in which they reside, and military personnel will abide by the directions given by calm designates in the nearest military command center. This may or may not be a command post established by an opposing force. For example, all U.S. personnel stationed in Korea are subject to Korean military order for the duration of their deployment. The United Nations is dissolved for actively conducting hostile, aggressive war campaigns with regularity since inception, especially targeting the undefended populations and especially targeting children. All UN military assets are transferred identically to NATO, as previously articulated. because it's the same organization anyway. So, on initialization, the United Nations, in a hostile invasion, declared war on Korea, and the state of war has existed ever since. This situation is relieved with the dissolution of the Corporation of the United States and the United Nations. Period. There's no room for negotiation in that. We don't negotiate with terrorists, and those both are. So is the EU. So is NATO. Any questions? All clandestine military and intelligence operatives will be relieved individually through nominal channels. As a general issue, continuity of government operations are nondescript because there is a condition of war threatening general survival and at a larger scale existence at all. For the citizenry, you have completely ignored your obligations in honorable behavior and have allowed your representative governments to escalate the situation to this point by either active participation and incitement or total apathy and neglect of your civic responsibilities. In light of this, action against continuity of government operations will be considered military acts of aggression against general order stabilization at the principality level and will receive very strict response. Do not inhibit, stifle, or retaliate against principality interests of calm. Principality of calm is containment of all light management. Father Jason Paul Thompson Christ, eternally Hemahem, understood as power mender. Mother, always perfection, grace, APG, eternally nondescript, you may not fucking know. The government of calm is family. Please direct any matters of inquiry on this subject to hemahem.io. Yours truly. That about does it.